Sir Isaac Newton predicted the world would end in the year 2060. In 1967, God bestowed the title of the forerunner prophet of the apocalypse on Kenna Farris and told him that Jesus would return in the year 3000. Larry Wilson from Wake Up America Ministries predicted the apocalypse would begin by 2017. Rabbi Philip Berg predicted the world would end in a ball of fire in 2000. In Richard Noone's book 55-2000, he predicted that a cataclysmic shift in the Earth's crust would wipe out 75% of the global human population. Rabbi Dosa predicted the Messiah would return in 400 AD. Hippolytus calculated the world would end by 434 AD. Rabbi Judah ha-Nasi believed the Messiah would return in 436 AD, 70 years after the destruction of the temple. In his treatise on the Antichrist, Adso of Montier-en-Der predicted the end of the world in 950. Saint-Hilaire of Poitiers, Otto III, and Adam of Bremen all predicted the world would end in 1000. The letter of Toledo predicted the end of the world in 1186. The Taborites of Bohemia predicted the second coming of Christ would happen in February of 1420. Michael Stiefel predicted Christ's second coming and judgment would occur at 8 a.m. October 19th, 1533. Benedictus Aretius of Berg believed that the world would end in 1572, 1260 years after Constantine made Christianity the official religion of the empire. In 1500, Christopher Columbus calculated in his Book of Prophecies that Christ would return in 1656. Mary Bateman's fortune-telling chicken laid an egg with the date 1809 written on it that foretold the apocalypse. John Wesley predicted Christ's return in 1836. William Miller foretold Christ's second coming would occur between 1843 and 1844. Mother Shipton predicted the world to an end shall come in 1881. Charles Taze Russell predicted the rapture in 1910 and the end of the world by 1914. The Jehovah's Witness predicted the end of the world in 1874, 1878, 1881, 1910, 1914, 1918, 1920, 1925, 1941, 1975, and 1994. In his book, The Great Pyramid, Its Divine Message, David Davidson predicted the end of the world in August of 1953. The Branch Davidians calculated that the world would end in 1995. F. M. Riley predicted the end of the world in his book 1994, The Year of Destiny. Sheldon Nidle predicted 16 million spaceships would destroy the Earth on December 17, 1996. Marilyn Agee foresaw May 31, 1998 as the end of the world. Edgar Whisenant wrote a book called 88 Reasons Why the Rapture is in 1988. 1 year later, he published a newsletter titled 89 Reasons Why the Rapture is in 1989. In 1968, Charles Criswell King said the world as we know it would cease to exist on August 18, 1999. The Mayan calendar is widely believed to predict the end of the world in 2012. John Denton's reading of the Bible foretells the second coming in 2033. In 1999, Jerry Falwell said the second coming would happen in the next 10 years. Many Rastafarians believe that when the two sevens clashed in 1977, the world would come to an end. The Avodah Zarah tractate of the Talmud specifically limits the existence of the world to 6,000 years, which, according to the Jewish calendar, means the end of everything in 2040. In 1962, Jeremiah Fuller, the secretary of the International Flat Earth Association, calculated the hour of the Great Reckoning was at hand on November 17th of that year. His fevered predictions were captured on the air live in the BBC studios.
It must surely, in this day and age, come as something of a shock to the ordinary man in the street to learn that there still exists in this country a sect of people who are still genuinely convinced that the earth is flat. However, and I believe this to be only fair, one should never condemn out of hand the beliefs of others without first investigating those beliefs. And it is for this very reason, despite the fact that more than 400 years have elapsed since Magellan first circumnavigated the globe...
Oh, that word.
Circumnavigation?
No, the other one.
Globe?
Oh, yes, for that word, we never use that. Never. It's forbidden by Article 19 of our Charter. Ever use that. I don't like hearing
Well, here in the studio we have Mr. Jeremiah Fuller, the present secretary of the International Flat Earth Association. Now, Mr. Fuller, how many members have you at the present?
Well, sir. Excuse me. When we were first formed, sir, in 1922, membership was restricted entirely to the United Kingdom, and there was only 3 of us, including myself and my good lady wife.
I see.
But today, even as I speak to you now, we are 15 in number, sir. 15 in number. And this figure embraces 2 members in Dar es Salaam and 5 in Hong Kong. 5 in Hong Kong and 2 members in Dar es Salaam.
Remarkable, quite remarkable.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Fuller, could you tell us very briefly just why you think the Earth is flat?
Well, sir, I'm afraid one would need a much longer programme than this in order to obviate the necessity of more than a brief resume of all the facets involved.
Mr. Fuller, have you never seen photographs taken from high-altitude rockets which distinctly show the curvature of the Earth?
Well, they're fakes, sir. They are fakes, every one of them. And I'd like to take the opportunity of making it public here and now that there is a worldwide conspiracy of leading statesmen and scientists to discredit our association and all it stands for, as laid down in its charter for their own secret and wicked purposes.
Come
sir.
now, Mr. Fuller, this is a preposterous idea. You surely can't be serious.
You can see fit to jeer, sir. But the day of retribution will surely come when you and all the other jibing skeptics who mock us will be forced to repent of your heresy or be cast in the everlasting fire with sackcloth and ashes on your loins. And I say unto you...
Mr. Fuller...
I will be heard, sir. I will be heard. We waited years for a chance like this. As their spokesman of the International Flat Earth Association, I say unto you that the hour of the great reckoning is not so far distant as you might suppose. Because, sir, by detailed studies of the Scriptures, my colleagues and I have ascertained that the world will be destroyed by fire on the 17th of every month.
But the 17th was yesterday, Mr. Fuller.
All right, I'm a day out then.
Correct me if I am wrong.
I'm a day out, that's all.
Please,
What's a day?
Mr. Fuller, correct me if I am wrong. You have already incorrectly forecast the end of the world on 4 separate occasions. According to you, we were supposed to have had doomsday in 1923, 1931, 1937, and as recently as 1950.
What are a few years here and there, sir, when measured against the limitless backcloth of eternity? What are they but as grains of sand?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Fuller, but do you mind very much if we get back to the subject in hand for a moment? Now,
grains of sand.
If, as you contend, the Earth is flat, what happens if you keep on walking in a straight line?
You try and catch me that one, would you? Try and catch me. But you think you got me there? Do you know, sir, it is an incontrovertible fact that every year thousands of people is reported missing from home and disappear without a trace. And what has happened to them? I tell you, they have simply walked off the edge of the world. Could anything be more obvious than that?
Have you any evidence whatsoever to support this fantastic and unbelievable theory?
Evidence, sir? What more evidence do you need? Verily, sir, I say unto you that when the trumpets shall sound out of Zion and Babylon on Judgment Day, all ye heretics who make sport of us shall be thrown into the bottomless pit, together with the painted harlots and brides of Satan, who now walk abroad in the streets, trying to turn the thoughts of honest men to fleshly lust with their posturings and mincing gait. Posturings and mincing gait.
Please, turn the sound.
Woe, I say, unto all these women in their summer dresses and bathing costumes, whose rounded breasts and bodies curve in the evil shape in which unbelievers say the earth is curved. Let them be destroyed, even as Sodom and Gomorrah's.
Turn the control
Woe,
down.
I say, unto all things as is bound and curved. Woe unto footballs, ping-pong balls, tennis balls, billiard balls, cricket balls, cannonballs, marbles, and pawnbroker signs. Woe unto melons, apples, grapefruits, oranges, and lemons. Woe unto balloons, electric light bulbs.
For God's sake, turn the sound off!